The following is a presentation of 13ABC Action News. Now, your table is ready. Join 13ABC's Jeff Smith with the decision makers of Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. This is the Roundtable.
And hi, once again, a good Sunday afternoon to you here on the Roundtable program. My name is Jeff Smith. Coming up in our second segment this afternoon for you, positive outlets out there for Toledo youth in the summer months. We're going to talk about that and how the game of chess plays into it all. You might find that especially interesting. But first off, my discussion earlier this week with the legal authority here in the state of Ohio. We are joined by Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine via Skype from Columbus this afternoon. Mr. Attorney General, thank you for taking the time with us.
Good to be with you. Thank you very much.
It piqued my interest last week. You held an event which you wanted to draw attention to the fact that there are still 690 missing children here in the state of Ohio. Of course, all of our interest drawn around what we just all witnessed in the city of Cleveland with the discovery of those three women who had been, I guess, kept against their will for the last 10 years, and the hope out there that there are many more cases like this where people are found who have been missing. Of course, we don't want anybody else to be taken against their will, but is it one of those things where you're trying to get out of the word that people can't lose hope?
Well, what we're trying to tell people is that, while the focus of attention, understandably, has been on this unbelievable story coming out of Cleveland, that there are still a lot of children who are missing. As you pointed out, there are hundreds of children just in Ohio who are in fact missing. If anyone would like to go up to the Ohio Attorney General's webpage, it's ohioattorneygeneral.gov, and we have some pictures of some of these children. And I think really the message, though, is the public, we need the public's help. We're not going to find these individuals in many cases just by police officers looking or the Attorney General's office being involved. We're going to find them with some help from the public. This
was a sick and twisted situation. Do you think it was just a fluke that these women were found?
I think it's not really clear. All the facts have not come out exactly how they were able to escape. Amanda Berry that day was able to get out. I guess that'll have to wait until the trial. But it is certainly a very unusual story. 10 years. The fact that they're living, we're living right in the neighborhood among us, so to speak, that is different. And it is, very, very tragic, very, very sad. Obviously happy that they have been found.
Some statistics that the Ohio Attorney General's office put out just last year alone, some 19,000 reports of missing children. About 60% of those were cases of runaways, and most were recovered safely. But for me as a parent, for you as a parent, you take the hat off of Attorney General for a second, and that is quite a sobering statistic for this state, is it not?
It is sobering, and we have to keep it in perspective, though, as you pointed out, that the vast majority of them are found or returned to their home within 24 hours. If it goes beyond 24 hours, then we start to really get worried. As you pointed out, a number of these are runaways, and that doesn't mean it's any less dangerous. They have run away, and sometimes they are victims of human trafficking. They end up going to another city. They are befriended by someone in that other city. That person is a bad person, and they end up being involved in human trafficking. So, none of this is good, and we're just trying to point out to the public, we need your help. Again, look at the Ohio Attorney General's webpage, ohioattorneygeneral.gov. We even age some of these young people. Mm-hmm. If they leave at the age of 12, we try to age their picture, maybe to where they are today at, say, 22, or what they might look like.
We've seen that with a case that we have unfortunately been following here in northeastern Ohio, out of southeastern Michigan, the missing Morenci boys, the Skelton boys, and their father incarcerated. No word on where these boys are. They've been missing now for 2+ years. Part of the search cascaded into Ohio. Have you been contacted to get involved with this investigation? Have you heard of this investigation?
Well, we have not been, to my knowledge, contacted, although it is possible our missing children's unit has been. I'm not aware of it.
But in cases like this, we're still looking at 700 kids still missing in this state. What is wrong? Why do we even have this on the books right now?
Well, again, we don't know what the facts are in each case, and the facts in each case are very, very different. In some cases, you may have runaways that do not want to be found. Somebody leaves at the age 16, 17, for whatever reason, they do not want to return, they remain on our books. But you also could have, someone who has been abducted. So we really don't know until they are found or until there is some resolution.
Talk to me a little bit. Teresa Fetter, obviously been very involved from our local area, and as you know, down there at the State House, been very involved in trying to draw attention to the problem of human trafficking. The state of Ohio, even Toledo, topping out on lists, again, the top 10 nationwide as far as the number of cases of young girls, young boys being taken into situations of human trafficking and forced into sex trades, of things of that nature. Here in the Midwest, what is the Attorney General's office doing to try to stem this tide?
Well, first of all, Teresa Fetters has done a very, very good job to focus on human trafficking. We have supported in the Attorney General's office some of the legislation that she has offered. And she has frankly been a very great leader in this area, and my hat goes off to her, and we work with her very, very closely. Several things that we are doing. We are involved in several task forces. These are working groups with law enforcement officials who work every day and focus on the human trafficking issue. We do have some results. We've had some cases where we have been able to prosecute the individuals. Human trafficking takes many, many forms. It can be a case like we had out of Chillicothe, Ohio, where we had two young people, or actually more than that, young people who were partying voluntarily. They ended up in Columbus, and over time, the man ended up giving drugs over a period of time to the woman, and really she became his slave. And he made her available for sex, for money. He controlled her by these drugs. We had another case, very different, in Warren, Ohio, in the eastern part of the state, where we got a tip from some local citizens about so-called massage parlors. Turns out they were not massage parlors at all. They were prostitution going on, but when we went in, we found there was human trafficking going on. The women there were being trafficked. So it can take many, many forms, and we work with this, but we, again, really need the public's help. Human trafficking is not like other crimes. If you see someone mugged in Toledo, we hope that you will report it, or whoever sees it reports it. Your house gets broken into in Perrysburg, your house has been broken into, you call the police. But if it's human trafficking, many times we do not simply recognize it.
One of the things, the points of focus that you wanted to bring attention to last Friday when we talked about these missing children and the release of the balloons at the event, you wanted to make sure that parents got a message. What was that message?
Well, I think the message is that go back to basics. Tell your kids what you were told when you were a kid, and that is don't get in a car with a stranger. If a stranger advances towards you, run, scream, do whatever you have to do to get out of there. A large number of these abductions do in fact occur by someone getting in a car. So it's kind of back to basics.
Do you think this is giving false hope to those parents who have lost children?
No, I think there always should be some hope until we know that hope has to be extinguished. I think it means that we have to be vigilant.
Talk to me a little bit. It just came down this week. The governor signing some legislation involving something you've been dealing with over the last few months, and that is the issue of internet cafes. As that legislation went forward, made it to the governor's desk, do you feel vindicated by that decision, and is it the right move?
I think it's the right move. This is something that law enforcement has asked for some time. We've always felt that these were illegal establishments, but frankly, the law did not give us the right tools. Now the law does, and we will be enforcing that particularly along with the local jurisdictions, and we will get this dealt with.
Attorney General Mike DeWine, we appreciate him spending some time with us earlier this week. When we return here on the Roundtable, keeping the kids out of trouble this summer, a great concept, but how do you reach some of those kids out there who don't want any part of it? I'll tell you what it has to do with Strive Toledo. When we return here on the Roundtable, stay with us.